Murkomen, Kipchumba Murkomen, former leader, and now a minister. Waziri, karibu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for indulging me to make this personal statement, Mr. Speaker. Under Standing Order number 58, to make my personal statement following my nomination by His Excellency President William Ruto to serve as a Cabinet Secretary in the Ministry of Roads, Transport and Public Works. Mr. Speaker, this morning, our sister house, the National Assembly, approved our names, and the names of the Cabinet Secretary's nominees approved includes my name, as it is now in public domain that I was nominated by the President to serve in that docket. And following that nomination, Mr. Speaker, it is now my departure from this august house is imminent. I am, Mr. Speaker, standing here with mixed feelings because Senate has been home for over 10 years. In the year 2013, I was elected by the people of Elgeyo Marakwet County on the 4th of March 2013 to serve as the senator for Elgeyo Marakwet County. That time, Mr. Speaker, I was barely 33 years. Mr. Speaker, in the contest that led to my election, I competed with seasoned politicians, including the late Nicholas Biwott, whom, Mr. Speaker, was my worthy competitor, and the people, notwithstanding my financial status, my unknown name, my unknown background, the people of Elgeyo Marakwet County, having listened to my manifesto, agreed to elect me to come and serve them in this house. Mr. Speaker, I am eternally grateful that despite that background, my people decided that they were going to vote for me. And Mr. Speaker, when I came here, my colleagues whom we served together, many of whom were very seasoned politicians, worked with me, walked with me, mentored me, respected me, Mr. Speaker, and from the onset, I was entrusted with responsibility in this chamber. I became the first chair of the Devolved Government and Intergovernmental Relations Committee. I became, Mr. Speaker, a member of the Public Accounts Committee, pioneer member of the Public Accounts Committee, and that County Public Accounts Committee, for my colleagues whom we were together here, you remember the challenges we went through, summoning governors to come to this house and shaping, Mr. Speaker, the relationship of this house in some matters of accountability with counties. I became, Mr. Speaker, a member of the Speaker's panel. From day one, I had the responsibility of chairing sessions of this house on behalf of the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker when they were not in session. And Mr. Speaker, I was also given the honor of being, Mr. Speaker, a member of Pan-African Parliament. And through that, Mr. Speaker, I served this country and this Senate with a lot of diligence, commitment, passion. And what I remember, Mr. Speaker, is that it didn't take 6 months. And as the chair of Devolution Committee, I had to guide the House when we decided that we had to go to Supreme Court for an advisory opinion at a time when the mandate of this House, Mr. Speaker, was being challenged by the National Assembly. And this House, Mr. Speaker, must be remembered that in the first Senate, the first year of the Senate, we did not get the opportunity to, Mr. Speaker, discuss county allocation of revenue bill and, Mr. Speaker, division of revenue bill, because at that point in time, the National Assembly thought we should not have that mandate. And because of our concerted effort as a team and the trust that the leadership of the House at that time, Senate, had, we managed, Mr. Speaker, to ensure that we get an advisory opinion from the Supreme Court that protected the authority of this House and the jurisdiction of this House, Mr. Speaker, which sadly has continued to suffer in the hands of, Mr. Speaker, our sister House in the National Assembly. It didn't take 3 years, Mr. Speaker. In 2016, one of my colleagues, Senator Charles Keter, who was the Deputy Majority Leader, was nominated in the same way I have been nominated to serve in the cabinet. And the opportunity that came, my party, Mr. Speaker, nominated me and approved me to be the Deputy Majority Leader. Again, Mr. Speaker, at a young age of, Mr. Speaker, barely 36 years, I became the Deputy Majority Leader of this House. And Mr. Speaker, from then onwards, Mr. Speaker, I also relinquished other responsibilities. But it must be remembered also, Mr. Speaker, that at the time when we had a challenge about the mandate of this House, I became a chair of a select committee deputized by Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr. then to protect again and find ways of using the Constitution to protect the mandate of this House. Mr. Speaker, I have been lucky to be part of many initiatives in this House, including being a member of a joint committee, Mr. Speaker, of both houses that looked into electoral reform that was formed, Mr. Speaker, in 2016, and that led to the massive electoral reforms that then chaired by Senator Kiraitu Murungi and Senator Orengo. Mr. Speaker, I leave this House having sponsored a number of bills and having pushed many bills as Majority Leader, Mr. Speaker, because I was re-elected in 2017, given the responsibility of being the Majority Leader. And for the 2.5 years I served as a Majority Leader, I pushed so many bills and fought again, continuously fought for the authority and the protection of the mandate and jurisdiction of this House on matters bills, especially on the operationalization of Article 110 of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, that responsibility required at times to disagree with the executive of the very party, Mr. Speaker, that nominated me. I believe some of the reasons why I was removed as Majority Leader, apart from other external political reasons, is, Mr. Speaker, I brought to this chamber a 20-page statement challenging, Mr. Speaker, the Nairobi Metropolitan Services as an entity, Mr. Speaker, taking over responsibilities of Nairobi County. The President then might have been angry with me as the Majority Leader, but I remember, Mr. Speaker, that I swore that I will protect and defend the Constitution. I'm glad, Mr. Speaker, that as time goes, time has proven, Mr. Speaker, that I was right on the issue of Nairobi Metropolitan Services, considering the things and the misdeeds that happened in Nairobi City. Mr. Speaker, there were so many instances here that we had to do things that sometimes we disagree with the executive, privately or publicly. And I believe that that example that we set will assist the leadership of this House, particularly my friend Senator Aaron Cheruiyot, as he pursues, Mr. Speaker, as he leads this House, particularly being the political leader of the majority side, to ensure that even though he is a friend of the President, and even though he comes from the majority party, that he may not lose sight of his responsibility to defend and protect the Constitution and protect the mandate, Mr. Speaker, of the Senate of the Republic of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, I know that time has come, like the Bible says in Ecclesiastes chapter 3, that, Mr. Speaker, there is a time for everything. And, Mr. Speaker, time has come. The 10 years that the people of Elgeyo Marakwet entrusted me to serve in this House, Mr. Speaker, has come to an end. Anytime this afternoon, I will hand in my resignation letter to you, Mr. Speaker. That even as I do so, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that I'm very proud of my tenure in this House for 10 years. It is not for me to tell Kenyans whether I left a legacy or not. It's for historians to write about my responsibility in this House. There's a lot we would have achieved, Mr. Speaker, had we sorted the problem of relationship between this House and the National Assembly. There's a lot, Mr. Speaker, our country would have benefited if there was a proper implementation of Article 110 of the Constitution insofar as bills concerning county. There is a lot that this country lost, Mr. Speaker, by denying the opportunity, Senate the opportunity to contribute to matters of bills. That is one area, Mr. Speaker, even as I exit from this door, Mr. Speaker, to the executive, that is one area I will continue being an ambassador of the Senate. That is one area, Mr. Speaker, I will work with the leadership of this House to ensure that the executive respects the mandate of the Senate And luckily, we have had many discussions with the current president about protection of the mandate of the Senate. And I believe that we shall be able to achieve this through consultation, cooperation, and more so, Mr. Speaker, through very transformative leadership that will be offered by this House. Mr. Speaker, I leave this House knowing that I leave very great men and women whom, Mr. Speaker, were recently elected. And unfortunately, I used to joke, especially to the majority side, particularly our SG knows that it was, I was telling her it would have been my greatest pleasure to be here to mentor her, but also to monolize her a little bit. Mr. Speaker, I've not had that chance. She has just told me, you are leaving before you did anything to monolize us. But, Mr. Speaker, the men and women elected on both sides of the House are people who have served this country in very senior capacities, Mr. Speaker, people who have relevant experiences, Mr. Speaker, in different fields and in different professions, Mr. Speaker. I believe that if they take their responsibility seriously, and I want to tell honorable members here, you don't know what's going on inside me. There are things I'm very proud I did, but there are things I regret that I didn't take time to do. Maybe I would have done more bills. Maybe I would have come with more statements. This is a forum, Mr. Speaker, we must be honest to one another, that we are so privileged to be among the only 67 men and women entrusted by the people of Kenya to run the affairs of the Senate. And how many 50 million Kenyans would wish one day they would enter that door? We must never take it for granted, Mr. Speaker. We must make sure that our names are inscribed in the annals of history. We must make sure, Mr. Speaker, that Hansard one day will say there were men and women who came through this door, Mr. Speaker, and as they left legacy in this House. And I think that is a message I want to leave to you, my colleagues. I am proud that inside these chambers, there are colleagues we schooled together. Senator Sigei, who is my legal partner, Mr. Speaker, was a class behind me. Mr. Speaker, the Secretary General of ODM, Senator Sifuna, who was also a classmate of Sigei. So that's the people we schooled together, friends of our generation. Mr. Speaker, I have two students in this House. Senator Cherargei and Senator Chimera, Mr. Speaker, are sitting in this House as my former students. I have also, Mr. Speaker, sat in this House with my teachers. Unfortunately, there are none who are here, but of course, you all know I keep saying here that Senator Kindiki was my teacher and my leader when we were here together. And Mr. Speaker, many other people, including our senior clerk, Mr. Speaker, Eunice Kishangi was my teacher. So this place presents us an opportunity to have everybody a cocktail of leadership, from the senior Oburu Odinga, Mr. Speaker, to a young Senator Cherargei, Mr. Speaker, and Senator Chimera, gives us that opportunity to transfer leadership and create a concoction of leadership, Mr. Speaker, that is able to assist and make Kenya a better country. Even as I go and serve in the executive, I know that I am removing my political cloth, Mr. Speaker, my otherwise partisan political cloth, that sometimes you must be able to defend your political side. But when I go there, I will be required to serve everybody equally without considering their political side, their political persuasions, Mr. Speaker. And I look forward to visiting all constituencies, all wards, all counties, Mr. Speaker, without consideration of who voted for who, Mr. Speaker, and serve this country to make it a great nation. Mr. Speaker, as I conclude, I believe that the challenges that are before us, Mr. Speaker, are not unsurmountable. It is actually possible to resolve them. Number one, we must pursue, Mr. Speaker, a full implementation of Article 110 of the Constitution. The case that is pending in the Supreme Court, Mr. Speaker, we must take in the goodwill of having a former senator, an immediate former senator of Bungoma, serving as the Speaker of the National Assembly, and having, Mr. Speaker, Senator Cheriot, his colleague and his friend, being the majority leader here, and having, Mr. Speaker, yourself and the Speaker of this House. All of us must be able to sit down, both sides, Senator Matsayo leading the minority side, and, Mr. Speaker, hammer an out-of-court settlement, a consent, Mr. Speaker, recorded at the Supreme Court. My my dream is not to withdraw the case, but to have a consent recorded, Mr. Speaker, on the operationalization of Article 110 of the Constitution. That way, we will respect the mandate of the Senate. Number two, Mr. Speaker, in the immediate period that is before us, we must be able to ensure that the Senate has an oversight fund. If you look at senates in the world, all parliaments in the world, including the United States, where citizens sometimes accuse senators of having a lot of salary in this country. It is true that salaries of the US senator, Mr. Speaker, might be modest, but look at the support system they are given behind, Mr. Speaker. It runs into millions because they are facilitated to have public participation with their voters. They are facilitated to carry out audit reports. They have even tickets to fly to their counties and come back. Mr. Speaker, we are not asking the favor. The Senate is not asking for a favor. It's asking, Mr. Speaker, that the Senate and senators be facilitated to perform their responsibilities. Even if, and I know because I've interacted with many senators here, none of them is asking to be given money to manage. They want money be given to Senate, Mr. Speaker, and be allocated to their constituencies and counties for them to go and do public participation audits, Mr. Speaker, to make sure that the resources that are given to counties will make sense. I will ensure that I incorporate the intergovernmental relations requirement in my leadership in the executive to make sure that the working relationship between counties and national government is achieved for proper accountability, Mr. Speaker, and proper use of the resources. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I believe that the challenge we must surmount in this chamber, and I've seen it before, we must ensure that we work bipartisan. Mr. Speaker, one of my most memorable moments in this House is when we protected marginalized counties in the county allocation of revenue bill. Mr. Speaker, countless times in this House, we sat together, all of us from both sides of the political divide, and Mr. Speaker crossed the floor to interact and persuade each other to make sure that when it is national interest, there will be no, Mr. Speaker, Azimio, and there will be no Kenya Kwanza. There will be only one Kenya that will be able to produce results to protect the citizens of this republic. And when the time comes for discussing that formula again, or any other matter that is national in nature, I look forward to a leadership in this chamber that will cross the floor to negotiate and consult about, Mr. Speaker, leadership in this House. I cannot exhaust my 10 years, the experience I've had, Mr. Speaker, being the captain of the football team, and Mr. Speaker, scoring so many goals in Arusha and other parts of this country, Dar es Salaam, and other areas, Mr. Speaker, on behalf of Bunge FC. I will miss those great moments. I hope to continue training with the Bunge FC and perhaps participate in the East African parliamentary games, Mr. Speaker. I cannot exhaust the countless times we went for trips, Mr. Speaker, both nationally and internationally, to see what other countries have done. And now we brought back those experiences here. I made great friends. Unfortunately, I have not had enough time to interact with the current lot of senators, but I look forward to coming back here anytime I am summoned, Mr. Speaker, including almost summoning myself, so that I can participate with colleagues here to ensure that the ministry I'm going to head is meaningful to the people of Kenya. To the people of Elgeyo Marakwet County, I am forever grateful. To my family, Mr. Speaker, my wife and my 4 little children, Mr. Speaker, I am forever grateful. To my family, my parents, who struggled through tough times in life, to educate me and give me this opportunity to reach this far, I am forever grateful. And to the President who nominated me to be a Cabinet Secretary, I want to tell the President I will serve this country with great humility and great honor, and I thank him for trusting me to serve the people of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, I am overwhelmed by emotions, but I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Kipchumba Murkomen. It is not the tradition of this House actually to allow debate on personal statements, but actually the Standing Order 58 says, but such matter may not be debated. So I have some review as the chair of this session to allow at least 3 members from both sides. Each side 3. And today I want to start with our elder, Senator Oburu Ondinga. Let us hear your voice.
Yes. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for the opportunity to, first of all, congratulate our brother, Honorable Murkomen, for the appointment as the Minister in charge of roads. Murkomen has been an outstanding senator. I have not been in the Senate with him, but being a member of the East African Legislative Assembly, I used to hear a lot about his contributions in this House. And I would not like to say a lot, but Mr. Speaker, I would only like to urge Honorable Murkomen to do what he has said. He has said he is not going to be partisan in dispensing services to the people of Kenya. And I hope, Honorable Murkomen, the way you have been acting, we hope that in your new endeavors, you will offer services to the people and you will forget about elections. Elections are over and it is time to work. It is now time to fulfill all the promises which you made to the Kenyan people. When you do that, we are not going to pull your leg. We are only going to oversight you to make sure that you don't deviate from what you said, you promised to do. But as long as you are working for the people, we shall be with you and we shall encourage you to continue to serve the people of Kenya. So, Honorable Murkomen, I don't have much to say, but please talk to people who are still creating, campaign moods by even trying to lure some people from our side and telling them to come to your side, that they are trying to weaken the opposition. They promised that they will not do handshake, that they will want a strong opposition to deal with, to oversight the government. So when you are talking to leaders and saying, we don't understand you, why are you not coming to us? Why are you not talking? That is not the way to go. I think there must be opposition, there must be people who are on your side, and there must be people who are on this side, and let us all work together in the interest of the Kenyan people. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Senior. Honorable Senators, let us take at least 2 minutes so that we can make some progress. Senator Keloche Tabitha.
I know. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to take also this opportunity and congratulate Senator Murkomen. I know we have to get used to...
Just a minute, Senator Tabitha. Senator Kajwang Moses, are you on a point of order or maybe... Okay. Proceed, Senator Tabitha.
Yeah. Also, I want to take this opportunity and thank Senator Murkomen for his new appointment as Waziri of Roads. I know we'll get used now to calling him Waziri of Roads soon. So congratulations, Murkomen. You may never know. Me, I'm very new in this house. I've been an outsider. You may never know, so I'll talk on behalf of the outsiders, that we all knew that we had somebody we could rely on when they were in this house. Anytime, like me, I know I've gone through a lot of challenges, but anytime I was going through those challenges, I know you always called me and assured me that you are behind me and the support that you always give me. And even when I also wanted to come to politics, I remember you are the first person, you may never know, you're the first person to call me and tell me I've made the right choice. So I'm talking as an outsider, but I know we need more Murkomen in this house. As we continue doing whatever we'll be doing in the next 5 years, remember, the outsiders look at us. And me being one, I knew Murkomen was one of those people that Kenyans relied on. So I'm sure we'll work hard to ensure we fill the gap and enter into issues to ensure that even us, people outside can rely on us and know that whatever will happen, we have people that they can rely on. And now, being the Minister for Roads, and you've promised that you're going to work for all of us in Kenya, you look not in a political way. I remember, and I know the senators, some of the senators who visited Keroche, it's about 1.85 kilometers. I'm not whatever for myself, but it's about 1.5 kilometers. But they were really shocked to see the pathetic, how the road is pathetic. So, and when I asked the last government to make that, whatever they were asking me, how many votes will we get out of that road? So I know you'll not be looking at that, you'll be looking at how much is coming from that company. So a company able to pay over 200 million a month should be done its road, which is only 100 million, worth 100 million. So for me, is to wish you all the best, and to say that I'm very sure this government that has come on board and the CSAs that have been elected, His Excellency will give them now the free hand to make the decisions, because the last government, I know we had a government that had all the ministers, 22 or 23, but none of them could make any digital decision. So I'm very sure outside there, the business community, the people of Kenya are watching to see that this cabinet will ensure that it will work like the way Kibaki cabinet worked, where Kina Dr. Oburu was assistant minister, and you could even rely on an assistant minister, not even a full minister. So here we are now waiting and watching and praying for you to ensure that that cabinet does what Kenya deserves to be done for. Is it business? Is it creation of the jobs and ensuring that you serve everybody, not looking at who elected you and who didn't elect you. So Murkomen, congratulations, keep it up, and I know now we'll feel the fire when it comes now to the fire that you've come out with from here as a member of Senate. I'm sure we'll feel it, we'll hear it, we'll get it when you're in the cabinet. Thank you so much. Let's go walk everywhere in our counties and find roads are built. And yeah, we start talking of the government of His Excellency because...
Sorry, but your wonderful message has been conveyed to Senator Murkomen. Senator Manzo Daniel.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to congratulate my friend, Waziri Kipchumba Murkomen, also known as OKM. And I remember when I was Secretary of Cooperatives, he is one of the young lawyers we worked with the cooperative movement to enlighten the issues dealing with the cooperative movement on television shows and to encourage young people to join circles, to save money. So we quite often employ the skills to push the cooperative movement to the young people in the country. And he's been a firebrand. And at one point, when I joined politics in 2007, I role modeled him just a little bit, not much. And even as a young lawyer, he told me one day he admired a few things I was doing, because both of us came from the village and we were soon capturing the city. So I really want to congratulate you, and I know you have strong Christian background. You fit very well in the nation, and you fit very well at the village. Therefore, I really want you to be a role model to many, many young people, a true role model of what hard work can give somebody, and how trusting in the Lord and working, serving the people without ill will at all, and smiling even when things are adverse, and finding hope and getting things moving is a good way. There is a very big challenge in the Ministry of Roads. A little effort was made by the previous regime, you have seen, and also a lot of effort. You have seen the new developments. I believe we are going to develop the country more. We'll have more tarmac especially Ukia Emali Road, has been promised by the previous regime for over 10 years. It didn't work. Where we have done Thwake Dam, we are looking for a connection between Kitui and Wote, places you know very well, 72 kilometers. And I believe you are fit to do this job. We look forward to support you in this particular venture. And may God bless you in this venture, and may you serve the people of Kenya. I thank you.
I hope Senator Murkomen is writing down those loans you are mentioning. Senator Mungatana.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Senator Murkomen, you are very famous in Tana River County. And when we were campaigning, our people kept on saying, when you go there, you should be like Senator Murkomen, which is strange because you are younger than me in the profession and in many other ways. But we thank you for the service you gave to this country. We cannot repay you in this Senate, but I can assure you that God has seen the sweat of your brow. The people of Kenya have seen the work you have done, and we thank you for the work you have done. As you go, I want to make a special plea. Tana River County has only one major trunk road, a tarmac road. The whole county. It's a shame, Mr. Speaker, that after 50 years, more than 50 years, we are only talking of one county road that connects Kilifi, Tana River, and goes to Garissa County. We have spoken in many places that there is a way we can connect with Kitui County. There's a way we can connect to Nairobi in a shortcut. We don't have to take all these hours to take our produce to the markets. So we ask you to think of us in terms of bottom-up approach. There are many people who have needs, but our country will only be as strong as its weakest economy. It will only be as strong, a rope will be only as strong as its weakest point of connection. And so we ask you to think about us as you take your responsibility. Thank you.
Senator Onyonka Richard.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is very interesting because I have known Honorable Senator Murkomen for quite a while. Mr. Speaker, I happen to have a small advantage that I've actually been in this parliament for the last 23 years. When the Senate started, he came out as one of the very articulate, intelligent young people who actually gave youth its very good face. We highly respect you. I personally respect you because I've worked with you. Remember once we were working together with the president now. Please remember that the expectation is going to be very high. The reason being that if you come to Kisii, my brother, you'll see that some roads have been half done. Other areas have got 200 kilometers done in one constituency, and yet in others you'll find there's 16 kilometers done. I believe that you will be dignified enough to be fair and reasonable to most of these areas. If you look at Kisii, as the county that I represent, Waziri now, Murkomen, I hope when you come there, please engage the members of parliament, your Senate colleagues, so that we can walk around and show you some of the issues that are disturbing our people. Otherwise, I congratulate you. I think you will do well. You've so far done well. And I'm happy to also be emotional with you and saying, wish you well, perform well, and may God bless you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you. Senator Wamatinga Wahome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mine would be a very, very short one. I would surprise everybody that when Senator Murkomen came to Nyeri County and campaigned for me and said this is the right guy to be the senator, people of Nyeri said, if you're going to be like Murkomen, we are going to elect you. Now that you've not taken long enough here for me to learn from you, I would want to wish you the best. I know you're good and you're cut for the job. I know that you'll have a very big challenge because you have the both. Number one and number two, they are workaholics, they are workhorses. I know they'll drive you, but I know that you have what it takes. Mine is to wish you the best. I know that you have what it takes, and congratulations for the new law. We'll be praying for you. When you come around, please come and check on us and tell us how we are performing from out there, because some of us, even being older than you, we know that people talk about you. You've built a name around you. People have seen Senator Murkomen as a beacon of hope, and they want us to copy you. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Senators, I can see still there is a lot of interest in wishing our brother Senator Murkomen well wishes. I will give more members so that we can at least bid you good farewell. The mood of this house is like they want to suspend business just to handle. So let's proceed. Senator Moses Kajwang.
Mr. Speaker, I wish to congratulate my friend and my age mate, Kipchumba Murkomen, on his appointment to the cabinet. I'm older than him by 10 days, him being born in March and I being born in February. Unlike other speakers who are elected to be like Murkomen, the people of Homa Bay elected me to check Murkomen. And now that he's leaving the house, I don't know who I'll be checking, because Cheriot is already being checked by Madzayo. So I'll find another target, maybe a female target this time to check, now that Murkomen is gone. But I want to ask Murkomen to be true to one thing that I've known him for. Murkomen always speaks truth to power. I remember him coming to Bomas one time, and it was a very hostile environment. And he spoke, and he made his point. And please continue speaking truth to power. There is no perfect or excellent government, and when things are not going wrong, please exercise your free will and your mind that we have come to get us accustomed to. Secondly, I pray, Senator Murkomen, there's a petition before the Roads Committee, and I pray that you'll get an opportunity to come to Homa Bay County. Mr. Speaker, this gentleman came all the way to Homa Bay to help me bury my mother at a time when people thought that my side of politics was contagious. I want to thank you for that. And the people of Homa Bay are saying, bring your friend Murkomen, let him visit Mfangano, let him look at Mfangano Ring Road, Rusinga Ring Road, let him look at the ferry linking the islands, let him look at the missing link of the Lake Victoria Ring Road, and because he's a football lover, let him in his time as a CS for roads, give us the Gor Mahia Ring Roads in Dhiwa, where Senator Beatrice comes from. Kipchumba Murkomen, if you do that, our people will love you, and perhaps there will be some returns for you later on. But more importantly, continue